Once upon a time, there was a 17-year-old kid. He was very hardworking, always been. Wasn't much ambitious, but one thing his parents taught him well was study hard and you will get where you want to be. So that's what he did. He was always a good student, always one of the top few of his class. He went to a decent junior college. He went to a decent junior college where everyone else was pushing to do well in life. You know, it was the age where you could actually push for excellence. That's where his life just started falling apart. He ended up going for 3 surgeries. Surgery in Singapore, the doctor watches it out, he has to go back to India, go back to his family doctor, try and patch himself up. Takes about 1 year where he can't go to school. He knows that he only has 1 year to cover 2 years worth of his A-level equivalent exams. But guess what? His parents told him one thing: work hard. And that's what he does again. He works hard. He works his ass off, studies day and night to cover up, to catch up, and to be able to write his A-level equivalent in India. So that because he knows how important it is to get into a local university, we all know that. And we were all kids, we all knew that. So he tries his best. 3 days before his maths A-level paper, first paper, he gets chickenpox. How bad is that? Sway, right? He gets chickenpox, and as he's writing that equation that he practiced 10 times, 20 times while preparing, he can't write that equation anymore because he has pus all over here. He can't, and he wants to cry. He can't cry because he has pus stuff here. He can't do anything. He wants to cry, he can't do anything, but guess what? Somehow scrapes through. Why do I tell you that? Because then you'll be able to understand that same guy, he just enjoyed the best 7.5 months of his life interning. Hope you can understand why now. A very good evening, ladies and gentlemen. That person in the story, you won't say is me. And I just spent the past 7.5 months interning at DBS under the corporate banking sector. And why was it the best, amongst the best time of my life? Get back to it later. Okay, first up, a bit of a background. I graduated in December 2012 from SIM. Yes, that's a concept art. The artist obviously got the bus stop very wrong. Why? Obviously it's undercrowded, isn't it? And so I graduated in December 2012. And after that I had 9 months gap where I could get into my second year only in September. That meant I had a 9 months gap, and I was very adamant that I wanted to get an internship because I knew that it was a very important part. So when all my friends, they just decided, man, let's go to Recruit Express and we'll just get a damn job, I just decided to wait around. And but me and my friends were quite foolish in the sense that we did not know many of the banks, they have an internship application period, which we had already missed. So anyhow, I tried my best. I went through, I tried to pull as many strings as I could. Some strings that weren't even there, I tried and pull. But I somehow managed to get to the interview. I had 2 face-to-face interviews, quite difficult, something I'll talk about in my next speech, the process of getting in. And I had 3 telephone interviews. People just kept asking me what do I know about banking world, which I knew nothing about, but I tried to, bull crap my way through. And after 2 months wait, I did finally get into the DBS as an intern. So, my internship. Like I said earlier, I was an intern in the institution banking group, which I actually dealt with the SME clients of DBS. So SIM, my friend here was working at Training Vision, they were our clients. What we used to do was to facilitate any of the loan facilities that they asked for. So my team was basically the one who was doing all the background checks, all the due diligence basically on checking your credit history, checking your financial history, making sure you're good to go before we can give you a loan. So I was an intern over there. And I was initially put in as an admin assistant of sorts, because being an intern, yeah, you can be just an intern by treating yourself just an intern by doing admin stuff. But I'll quickly say one of the good things about my internship offers. First of all, every day I came in, I turned and I had this very good pantry. We are not allowed to call it pantry, we call it a social hub apparently. So it was a very nice place. I mean, you come in and there's this awesome view, level 43, and you really feel like, wow, it's good. The place is good to work in. You have a free coffee machine, and being a coffee addict, I used to drink so much coffee until at home my dad was saying, after I use the toilet, even the toilet smells of coffee. That's how much coffee I used to drink. And besides that, I had very good colleagues. Oh, sorry, some of it got cut. Yeah, but I had very good colleagues, and I met a few interns as well from NUS and SMU, and being in a team of 23 people, out of which 20 were females, was that, besides the obvious, there was a period where, I mean, they were all very maternal in the sense that, okay, you were interns, so they would really teach you, like a mother, actually. So, and they were from the front office, so they could talk, and they were very good in communicating. So I had very good colleagues in that. So obviously, the left part is food. So anyway, so obviously, just as a farewell, I also gave them truffles towards the end of the one below, as my farewell gift, and also the food that we had in the CBD, because in that area or in a bank, when you're tagged to projects and you're tagged to different teams, when you're leaving, there's always the farewell lunch, or there's always like end of project lunch, and usually the head will treat everyone. So it was really, I had some of the best lunches in my whole life, to be honest. I never eaten places like Paradise Pavilion or even Paradise, for instance. And a lot of those cool places, I never knew, but I had free lunches a lot, especially when meeting clients. Yeah, they like to spend a lot on the client's food, and because you're just tagging along, you get to enjoy the free food too, so it was good. And that's why it was good. Yeah. Okay, to the hard through. Yes, it was an internship. So yes, I began with doing absolutely nothing. There were times where I had nothing to do. I was just staring outside the window looking at the ships going past the Marina Bay, the shipping straits. And there were times where I came in, it took them about 2 weeks to get my laptop or my email. So I was just seated beside my supervisor just looking at what she was doing, how boring it was. And there were times where you felt like really like just an intern, because you were just seated there, and suddenly, you know, your colleague, she comes in, she looks quite fussy, and then she comes down and she says, Sharath, I need your help. And I'm thinking, wow, finally I'm useful. She writes 2 numbers, hand them out for me and tell me what's the sum later. I'm like, what? But guess what? I add it up. I go to her, I write down, and then I notice that she's doing a financial analysis. I thought, you do financial analysis, so do you need help with all that? And she says, yeah, I do. Do you know how to do this? I said, yeah, I do. I learned it in my final semester. So that's how I suddenly started doing financial analysis. And then they realized that, hey, this guy can do that, and then they made me do business analysis. And while I network around, I get to do a lot of other things. So that's one thing that I want to say. I never treated myself as just an intern. I just decided to do whatever is given to me and try to do the best of it as my capability. The reason, and also because every day, when I came out of the Marina Bay Station, entering the CBD area, it was an entirely different experience, because I knew I was one of the very very lucky SIM uni same diploma holders who actually, this is the important thing, I want to talk about it. Yeah, so when I came out, I realized I'm one of the very few lucky ones, and that motivated me enough to actually make best of whatever chance I had. I knew I had 7 months, I worked my ass off, and I will finally be able to release all that dejections, all the disappointment that I've been having since I was 16 years old. And that just pushed me. Every single morning I come in, I realize, hey, I have an intern pass, I try and tap it. I'm just an intern, but I try and make do with what I have. So I go out and I try and network around to again get more projects, just to something, And again, what I want to say about the importance of internship, I know for many of us, we think interning is just admin stuff, you're very bored. Let me ask, how many of you are accounting and finance students over here? Many for the business, right? Study accounting or finance? How many? Okay, how many of them actually want to go, how many of them actually heard Big Four? Most of us have. How many of us want to get into Big Four? Most of us do. So for those SIM, okay, imagine you come out from a normal SIM degree, the lower class honors, correct? Second lower. What would you rate your chances upon 10 to get into one of the Big Four? Sure. How are your chances?
I'm not from accounting, but I'll give it a 0.01.
A very true fact. Now let me introduce one of my very good friends, that pretty lady seated in the third last row. Her name is Wyan, and she's from accounting and finance too. Wyan, how much would you rate your chances upon 10?
8 or 9.
8 or 9. Why? Does she have a secret weapon? Does she have something that we all don't have besides looks, obviously? Okay, what is it that you did, Wyan, that you think you might be able to get into a Big Four?
Okay, it's because I have spent my summer, the entire summer, from June to September,
Thank you so much, Ryan. She has not interned just once. She interned there twice. She interned during her poly, between her poly to university break. Interned there between her first and second year break. And guess what? Their employers want her. The same way, internships are very, very important. For many of us who have the chance to get an internship, just go for it. That's what I'm trying to do. That's why, I mean, you can, at the end, when you graduate, you can be like this forlorn looking guy, trying to look up at all those good buildings he wants to get into. You can just try your best and you will just end up being there if you think that, hey, my jobs are just going to fall down on my head. But you can either that or you can just be like this guy, who is upstairs, who did somehow get in. And he's looking at that past self of his, looking down and saying, hey, at least I'm trying something. I'm trying to get somewhere. And that's the most important part, people. So, again, it's really up to you whether you want to treat yourself as just an intern when you do intern, or you want to let others treat you like just an intern when you intern. It's really upon you. You can make the best of your what opportunity you have. And with that, I'll let end my extra long speech. Thank you so much.